All-time high. Do you speak the language of intuition? Holy cannoli. I love to share ways to sharpen and strengthen intuition. And one way that I do that is with cards. Cards I see as a way to kind of get a little pulse or your finger on the pulse of what's the energetic weather like? What's going on around me? It's not that the cards hold the power. It's not that they're telling us what's going to happen, but more so, and when I say what's going to happen, what I mean by that is sometimes when I talk about the cards, I run into people who are worried. They're like, well, I don't want to find out that something bad is going to happen. Here's the thing. It's kind of like, oh, I don't want to turn on the weather this morning because I don't want to hear that it's going to be raining. Um, I don't want to hear that there's going to be an ice storm, and that's okay, but there's still going to be that rain or there's still going to be that ice storm. The benefit of turning on the weather report is that you get a heads up and you're like, you know what? Leave a little extra early today. That way you don't have to rush to get to work, so you're less likely to have an accident. It might be dress in layers because it starts off kind of chilly in the morning, but it's going to warm up by the afternoon, so you don't end up freezing at school or at work. This is why I love the cards, because it gives us a weather report. It tells us what's going on. And then with free will, we get to decide, how will we engage with this weather? And that's what I love so much about the cards. The other thing too is that it opens up a dialogue. What you find happening is that it's not about looking for a yes or a no answer with the cards, but it's saying, okay, well, if I decide to go down this route, what are some of the, potential outcomes that I might encounter? Or you might ask something along the lines of like, okay, I've decided to go to, let's say, spring break somewhere. And, it's like, I'm wondering, what would it look like to take this route down or this route or this route? You might have a couple different options. And then you just take a look at the cards and you enter in the dialogue. And it's like, okay, well, how might I grow from this experience? Or how might I deepen my spiritual understanding? So there's so many different ways that we can utilize the cards and go down this rabbit hole. And why I love them, especially for tuning into the energy of the moon in the week, is that it helps us understand some of the moods that we wake up with, because this really is about tuning into the energy of the moon, this energetic weather report. And the moon, why? Well, because the moon affects our daily living. It connects us to our intuition. It connects us to our feelings, to the things that we encounter on a day-to-day basis. All of the other planets and stars affect us in many different ways, but the moon is our ally on a day-to-day basis. And I could talk about it like harnessing the energy of the moon. It can make things go a lot more smoothly, or we can go against the grain and feel a little more challenged. For example, the moon this week, and we're going to hop into the moon, I guess, right away. Usually I pull a card first, but the moon this week, it kicks off in Aries, and Aries is a fiery energy. So Monday and Tuesday, we have the Aries energy. Now, to track the moon, because I love, love, love this. This helps. What the goal of this is, my Inside of the Moon journal that I love so much, so beautiful and shiny, is that it is, and if you want one too, I've got a couple left in the current batch. So check it out. The link that'll be around this video if you want to scoop yours up. And then I have another batch that's going to be coming in about 6 weeks. So this particular journal, oh, I love it so much because I've poured my heart and soul into it. Of all of the sacred practices that I've been doing for at least a decade with the moon, and well past that, the practices that I've learned since, wow, anyway, we're not going to get into that. But long story short, the tofu and veg of it is right here, the middle of it, where we talk about how to track the moon during the week. Now, why is this important? Well, you're collecting data, and this is a highly intuitive week. Why am I saying that? Well, the moon is really engaging with a lot of the planets in the heavens. It's quiet otherwise, other than the end of the week when the sun meets up with Neptune. And Neptune is a very highly intuitive spiritual planet. It helps us tune into that energy. And we're at the tail end of Pisces, which Neptune rules in the modern tradition. So we are tuning into our intuition this week. We are opening up to those nudges, those hints, and those inklings. And what's going to make it easier to help you strengthen your intuition, to trust it, is to collect the data. This I've learned inside and out from my yoga days, training and certifying to be a teacher's teacher with the Yoga Alliance, training with my mediumship practice and certifying with my teacher. Journals, diaries, collecting this information is so important because it's our own unique language that we speak with our guides and with our spirits, and this can help. So what you do at the beginning of the week is just take note of where the moon is. I love to set an intention. I've got my top 3 things I use, the crystal, the ritual, and how I'm going to feed or nourish my spirit. We'll go over all of that. The most important thing, moon is in Aries Monday and Tuesday. And Monday and Tuesday, Aries moon means fiery, engaged. It's ruled by Mars. So you might feel a little more pep in your step. You might feel a little more motivated when you wake up. So take note of your mood. That's the data you're collecting. What's your mood? Because when the moon is in Aries, you might be more likely to be a little more bold, to go out to ask for the promotion or ask that person out on a date, or to challenge something that you feel like, this wasn't right. I'm going to call up and ask about this. You pull a card for the day. So let's do that. We're going to pull a card for the day, and then I'll pull a card for at the end for the week. We're going to do this a little bit backwards today, preparing for Mercury going retrograde, which will happen at the end of the month, but we're starting to enter its shadow. We're getting close. Not yet, but we're getting closer. So I have my star cards here that I love. Star cards. They're called star codes, Astro. I love these guys. And these are by Heather Rowan Robbins, and they're in the comments too if you're curious about them. But for Monday's energy, how can you make the most of Monday with that Aries moon? Okay, and we'll see who pops up. Taurus, cultivate. I love it. So the Taurus energy is about, I'm going to use the word sensuality, but what I mean by that is tactile. So with the moon in Aries, you're going to feel bold. You might feel a bit more, it's not exactly, I guess I would use the word impulsive. It's that feeling of like, I just got to go. I got to do it now. This has to happen. Watch where you might be being a bit too stubborn, like the Taurus, where the Taurus digs in their heels and they say, there's only one way to do it. It's got to be this way, or it has to happen or unfold like so. Give yourself a moment to take a deep breath and know that there are other ways that your dream might unfold, that you are going for a big goal. It's a high achievement that I really tune into intuitively myself. High ambitions, which is fantastic, but know that they can unfold in a lot of different ways. So a fun story really quickly is about manifesting. And I had a teacher once upon a time who was a yoga teacher, loved this one particular style of car, some red sports car. And she was so wishing that she could get one day. And the day came that she finally was like, oh, I found a used one. This is great. I can get the car of my dreams. She goes in, she works out a deal. She's going to pick it up the next day. And the car got sold right out from underneath her. And she was devastated. Now, it wasn't the salesperson's fault, but she had in mind, I want a red sports car with all these features. It was exactly what she wanted, and poof, gone. And the sales guy said, listen, you know what? We just had a new car come in on the lot. We haven't announced it to anyone. And it actually has a little bit more upgrades than what you were looking for. It was supposed to be a little bit more expensive, but I'm going to try to work with my manager. We're going to get closer to what the other one was. And so sure enough, she was able to get this beautiful red sports car that she never would have been able to afford. It was even bigger than she could have dreamt of. And it's like, how good can you stand it? Sometimes we put a limit on our manifestations or the things that we wish to create and make physical in this world because we just haven't even entertained the idea yet. So that's what I really feel about this Taurus card today on Monday is, dream big and say something like this or better, because sometimes we just don't know all the possibilities available to us because we're working with what we do know. That was a little bit long for Monday. Okay, Tuesday's energy. So Tuesday, moon is still in Aries, and we're in a waxing crescent phase. So that means new moon was on Sunday, planted an idea or an intention, and you can still do that. We're still in the new moon window. What is it that I wish to grow over this next cycle of the moon? Maybe there's something that you wish to do at home, maybe spring cleaning, a house project. Maybe there's something with work. Maybe there's something with self-development and growth. I would encourage you to develop intuition this week, to make that an intention. And in that case, you can say, all right, well, with this Aries energy that's so bold, and with the waxing crescent says, take some kind of action, like tuning into the weather report today and listening, doing research, playing. That's a great way to begin. And for Tuesday's energy, how can you make the most of it? Scorpio. So I love that this one came up, and she says, investigate at the bottom. I was going to say, go deep, do the research. Scorpio energy is so willing to go into the underbelly, the areas that most people want to just gloss over. It's kind of like getting the instruction manual and either ignoring it completely or flipping through it really quickly, or maybe saying, oh, I'll watch a quick YouTube video. I'm not going to worry about this. But this is saying, do your due diligence, research whatever it is you wish to create, whatever it is you wish to grow, to take action on your new moon intention. You want to investigate, you want to go deeper. So as we pull these cards, what you can do if you're following along with your journal, because I know many of you have them, is you can write the card in for the week. You can do this for the whole week ahead. You can do it each day when you wake up, when you write down your mood. And I keep track of where the moon is in Aries and waxing crescent. And I color in my little moon. All of this just to get used to the cycles and the rhythms of the moon. So Monday and Tuesday, Aries moon, you're going to feel that extra pep in your step and energy to get things done. Just remember, how good can you stand it? This or something better, and do your due diligence, do the research. Now, Wednesday, the moon begins to move from Aries into Taurus. And as we move into Taurus energy, Taurus is about enjoying yourself, finally being able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. It's about enjoying the finer things in life. And I am going to just say, how can you make the most of the Taurus energy? See who pops up. Capricorn. Now, this is interesting because Capricorn, Saturnian energy, is very disciplined, very rigid, very I'll use the word structured because it's this visionary CEO energy of, we have to do our work, we have to get things done, and then we can have fun. So as the moon moves into Taurus on Wednesday, if you're feeling a little bit of spring fever from my friends here in the Northern Hemisphere, and you're like, oh, I just don't want to do the work, I just want to enjoy myself, I want to play hooky, I want to invite you, take a moment to get the chores, get the responsibilities done and out of the way so that you can enjoy yourself without feeling that, little voice in the back of your head saying, oh, you really should have responded to so-and-so. Oh, you better pay that bill. Oh, you better call and change that appointment. Get all that stuff done early and out of the way, beginning of the day if you can, so that you can enjoy yourself at the end of the evening or the end of the day. It's really interesting. We balance these energies. It's kind of like, all right, vegetables first, chores first, and then I can play. So Thursday, the moon is still in Taurus, and we're going to just see how can you make the most of that energy. Chiron, healing. So Chiron is the card of the wound that we came into this lifetime to heal. We bring it with us. It's an area where sometimes it's called like our Achilles tendon. It can trip us up. It can block us, or I don't want to say block us, but it's one of these things where we're going along and then all of a sudden, so my Chiron wound is in a place. I had a reading once with a teacher, and it was a really funny reading. And the reading, he said, oh, your Chiron, you planted the crops in the wrong field and in a previous life, and you starved, to death, and you starved the whole family. You didn't have enough food to get through the winter. And I giggled because I bring snacks with me everywhere I go. Like I'll even bring snacks to the grocery store. And it's just like, it's funny. My husband would laugh at me when the kids were little because we'd be backing out of the driveway. We literally would be just leaving our house, going to church or going to a park or going to who knows what. And the kids, sure enough, would be like, "Do you have snacks?" My husband would say, "We just left the house. What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Of course I have snacks. Here you go." So there are ways that it can trip us up. People giggle at me and they laugh and they're like, "What is wrong with you?" But when I heard that, when I had that beautiful reading from one of my teachers, it really brought peace to my heart and it helped me laugh at myself and not feel so um super strange. I'm sure it's some kind of behavior that needs to be addressed. But I know I bring it in from a previous life. Hello, Monica. So great to have you. Welcome, welcome. So, yeah, as you pop on, definitely say hello. And because I am using StreamYard, make sure you give it permission so I can see your name. Because I see a lot of you out there watching and playing with me, but I can't see who is there. So it's nice to know who comes to play. All right. So Thursday, we have Taurus energy. Friday, what I wanted to say is how can we I want to just make sure I address Thursday fully. So Thursday, give yourself time. I'd go back to that Ho'oponopono prayer, which is, "I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you." And allow yourself time to heal. If there's been an area where you've beaten yourself up, where you're like, "Oh, why can't you get it? Why are you so," I don't want to say, like sometimes I think we go, "Why are you so stupid? Why are you so dumb?" to ourselves. And I make sure I don't look at the camera when I say that because I don't want that energy going into your space. But we say these things and we're very hard on ourselves. Sometimes our hardest critics, our hardest judge. Be kind to yourself this Thursday and allow yourself to enjoy everything that you have created and worked so hard for. Oh, Monica, it really is Ida. I thought that was you. Hello, Riza. So good to see you. So much love to you. I'm glad you could make it to play. Okay, so Friday's energy. Friday, the moon's still in. Oh, yeah. Friday, moon moves to Gemini. Glad I double checked. I'm getting lost. So Gemini moon, it's about talking, chatting. It's social. Maybe you want to have maybe you find yourself chatting more at the water cooler at work than you normally would and having conversations. The moon is going to lend itself to that. That's why I love checking in with the moon on a daily basis, because you might be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm just not getting as much work done. I'm chatty Kathy this Friday. Why am I not getting things accomplished?" Or chatty Charlie. And know that it is a social time. It's a time for talking, asking questions, maybe messaging people. So if there's work that you do want to get done, I'd say use this bold energy of Monday and Tuesday, the Aries moon, to really get things off of your plate, especially all the responsibilities. If you can do some of that today so you can enjoy yourself on Wednesday with that Taurus moon, do that, because who knows, maybe you'll have good weather Thursday, like good physical weather Thursday and Friday, where you could take like a spring hooky day and go off and, skip work or school and play. Oh, I didn't say that. But the end of the week, Friday, with the Gemini energy, this is curious. You want to talk, you want to question. It's social energy, social butterfly. It's ruled by Mercury. So give yourself some time to also use that for investigating. Maybe whatever new moon intention you set up, you want to investigate it farther. And we're going, or further, I guess it would be further. And we're going to say, how can you make the most of Friday's energy? I get Taurus again. So Taurus energy with Friday. Here's what I'm going to say, how it really shows up is I'm drawn to the flowers. So even though it's the same card, this is where the intuition comes in. You tune in and you see, how are my guides, my angels speaking with me? Some people love to refer to it as your spirit team. But how are they speaking to me? And to me, what I see are these beautiful flowers. It's enjoying the finer things in life. Gemini energy is associated with the element of air. It moves fast and quick. And I think of it like the butterfly, or really like a butterfly, or not so much a bird, because it's an energy that moves but enjoys itself. Sometimes like the hummingbird. That's what I wanted. Hummingbird. It can move backwards, sideways. It looks like it's standing still in air, but it's moving so fast, its little wings, you can't even see them. And the Taurus energy is saying, okay, butterfly, okay, hummingbird, enjoy the sweeter side to life. So when hummingbirds show up in your world, that's a sign to slow down, to enjoy the sweetness to life. I would encourage you, if you've ever practiced mindful eating, and maybe you want to do this with some friends. This would be good. That'd be Gemini and socializing there a little bit. But you put out a beautiful charcuterie board, or you just put out like a wonderful like tapas or tasting feast. You say, we're going to do some mindful eating. And you just maybe you say, okay, for 5 minutes, we'll eat in silence, or 2 minutes. That might be hard with Gemini energy where you want to talk. And just notice the sensations of the food, the texture of it, the smell, the colors. Maybe if you're out at a restaurant, the ambiance, the sounds, the temperature of the air, but you're trying to use all of your senses. That's Taurus, all of the senses to enjoy the experience so that it doesn't feel so fleeting. And the benefit of doing that is that it's going to sharpen clairsentience, clear feeling, so that when opportunities come your way this week, you can tune into your clear feeling, clairsentience, and say, ooh, my stomach feels off about that, or like, oh, that just makes my head hurt looking at it or trying to solve that problem. Like you're paying attention to your words and the feelings that your body are sharing with you. Okay, Saturday, moon still in Gemini. So we're working with that Gemini energy and we're just asking, how can you make the most of it? Aries, food. So it is now I'm wondering if I'm throwing the cards. No. So all about the food, always with me. Nurture yourself. Ceres is known as Demeter in the Greek traditions and with Persephone. And Persephone had been taken by Hades and taken to the underworld. And Demeter, Ceres, her mother, was distraught. Like, where is my daughter? You've stolen her away from me. And she decided, I'm going to take away all of the food and all of the fields, and no one's going to be able to eat. It's an interesting theme that's running through this week. Holy cannoli. But the people were starving, and they went and they petitioned Hades and they said, please, you have to let Persephone return. We're starving to death up here. And so Hades said, okay, well, I'll let her return for a few months out of the year. And that's when we get spring. So Saturday's energy, you're being encouraged to enjoy yourself, but I'm also really feeling that negotiation. That's interesting how that comes up, but don't hesitate to negotiate. And when I say negotiate, here's what I mean is that I want to invite you to not see things as like a dead end. And this kind of harkens back to the beginning of the week, Monday, when the energy is in Aries and you've got that bold energy. And it's like, well, this or something better. Open yourself to a lot of possibilities and know that. And I think this is something like back in the early days, early days, back when I was younger, the old days, and, you're getting out of college and you're looking for that first job. I don't think we always realized the negotiating power that we could have had, or we could have even asked and said, you know what, could I switch this and this around? So for example, I moved away from where I lived and where I grew up, moved to the Midwest to be with my honey. And I started working for this company and they had like 2 weeks vacation time and sick time. And if I knew that maybe I could have negotiated a couple extra like days off or for a difference in salary or for something else, so I actually had more time to go back and visit my family and friends, that would have been really cool because it was very challenging to try to get back home to see family. So anyway, this is just saying this weekend, enable yourself to know that you have some negotiation room, whatever it is, whether it's with work or with home or with relationships or even your health. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing. Find the fit that's right for you and don't hesitate to speak up for yourself is how I'm really seeing it. Okay, and then Sunday, when the moon moves into Cancer, holy cannoli, Sunday might be an emotional day. Highly, highly, highly intuitive because water, which rules Cancer, the element of Cancer is water. The sun is going to be conjunct, which means it's going to be amplifying Neptune's watery energy. And this moon is at home in Cancer too, by the way. So happy to be there. you're going to have a lot of water in the air, a lot of intuition. And the sun's also in Pisces. So which is a water sign, and Neptune rules Pisces. So it's water, 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 water. So that might mean a lot of emotions. It might mean heightened intuition. It might mean just a time where it's important to protect your heart. I would encourage you Sunday, if you can be at home and just kind of nurture and nourish yourself, or be around loving family, or do something where you just feel like, like the little crab who burrows into the sand. You've got your nice little shell around you protecting you. You can enjoy yourself. Very soothing, very nourishing and nurturing. I would encourage you to do that. I would avoid situations that are toxic if you can. If there's like that friend who sometimes, a bit of a Debbie Downer, to kind of say, oh, Sunday I'm busy, I can't chat. You can chat with them a different day, but protect your heart. And we're just going to ask, how can you make the most of this energy on Sunday? So square. So the square or quincunx. The thing about this energy is that it's a turning point. When this shows up, it's saying there can be, she has it listed here as tension. There's some kind of, I don't want to use the word conflict, but it's kind of like a growth point. Anytime that we are going to grow, or we're going to shift or raise our vibration, we have an alchemical experience. And in yoga, we used to like say, okay, the tapas, the heat is how that would translate into, not like the food tapas, but you would create this almost kind of physical burning sensation, not on purpose, but you'd be like sitting in chair pose, Utkatasana. And as you're there, or holding warrior one, like Virabhadrasana, you're building this heat, and this heat is helping you transform. It's helping to burn up the impurities on a spiritual sense. So a square or a quincunx is a stress point that's saying, all right, we're creating a little bit of friction here. We're making you a little bit uncomfortable so that there can be growth, so that you can move to the next level. And because it's such an emotional day, what I would invite you to do is allow those emotions to bubble to the surface, and to give yourself a safe space to process them. So a practice that you can do, practice that I'm going to be doing this week, and this is kind of where I come back to the rituals and the crystal, is that the crystal for this month, and every month has a crystal associated with it, and it's dateless, so you don't have to stick with one particular month, but the crystal is the rose quartz this month. It's to really help you tune into the energy of love, being compassionate and loving to yourself. So I'm going to use my rose quartz, and I'm going to use the sacred geometric shape, this beautiful Celtic friendship knot, the triquetra and the heart. And I'm going to use it to meditate, and I'm going to make a little crystal grid with it. And all of this, like if you have the journal, all of this is in the sacred practices section. I have a list of sacred rituals for every month, mudra, mantra, and meditation. And this is the meditation one with the triquetra. You're going to use the crystal of the month. And if you don't have the crystal, that's okay. You don't have to use it. I'm going to just tip my camera so you can see, because it's going to want to wobble off. I'm going to use the rose quartz in the very center. And then I'm just going to use 3 pieces of quartz on the outer edges to amplify the heart. And I'll just leave this set up at the edge of my desk, or I have a little sacred altar over there in the corner. I might change out what I have there. And I'll sit with this and I'll meditate. And already, even just looking at this, you can start to feel the energetic shift. The rose quartz is to bring in more love, and the clear quartz is used to amplify that love and to send it out. And the compassion here is really set up in such a way to help you tune into your heart. Because when we go into our heart, that's when we can hear the guidance, the intuition, whether it's the clear hearing, clear feeling, clear knowing, clear, what did I miss? Feeling, hearing, knowing, sensing. The claircognizance, clairaudience. I think that's the clear hearing. Did I say it, Mom? There's 4: clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, clear seeing, and clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance. What am I missing? Sentience, audience, voyance, cognizance. Holy cannoli, the knowing. I didn't have coffee yet today. All right. Thank you for staying with me as I work through all of that. I really appreciate you all being here. I'm going to pull one more card from the beautiful Light Seers deck. Overall energy. What's the most important thing you know about this week ahead? Ooh, we had some jump out. Let's see who jumped out. Ooh, quite a lot jumped out. All right, we're going to do that again because too many jumped out. It's kind of like, something's going on there. All right, so what's the most important thing you need to know this week ahead? Okay, Three of Swords. So if there is heartache that has happened to you, give yourself a moment to release. I know this is kind of an intense card. It looks a little bit scary, but it's about healing the heart and saying, in order to grow, in order to turn that corner, sometimes we have to say goodbye to things. Sometimes we have to recognize and realize the feelings that have been brewing deep within our heart and give them a safe outlet to come out. So salt baths, baths with Epsom salt are so great this week. I'm going to be doing yoga practices this week just to soothe my spirit and my soul, little sun salutations. But what you need to know is that what you focus on will grow. So if you're focusing on the heartache is going to be what really becomes the central focus point. So give yourself time to heal. Feel the feeling as it comes up. You breathe it and you feel it almost coming up into your belly. And then an exhale through the mouth, like a sigh, to release it. And it's very healing that way. You take a moment to look at the emotion and you say, I see you. I honor you. Instead of trying to ignore it or stuff it down. And something that simple can be powerful. And what you focus on will grow. Where attention goes, there energy flows. You know that good old saying? So nurture what it is you do wish to grow. Focus on the positive in your life. Focus on the good. Focus on the upside. And ask yourself, how good can you stand it? All right. Have an amazing day. If this has been helpful to you, please do. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe. It helps me out so much in order to get these messages out to hopefully lift people up and bring them a little energetic weather heads up. And if you have questions, then do pop them in the comments below. I love, love, love to help. And let me know if you are enjoying the readings, the style, and this format, because this is for you. And I want to make it helpful and useful in your week ahead. You're so welcome, Ida. Have a great week, guys. And I will talk to you later. Mwah. Lots of love. Bye, guys.